burn some calories, relieve some stress that was clogging your brain, and then you achieve that test grade that you required.
Oh man, so we are the one-stop shop then.
We are a family-owned business and it's a one-stop shop.
Greetings everyone, my name is Joel Guzman. This is Sergio Adams. We're co-owners of Brothers Building Blocks, and we're bringing to you casual conversations. In this episode, we're talking about 3 pillars of our company and how we're able to help the community.
So we've chosen 3 pillars, yeah?
Yes.
3 pillars of services: health and wellness, education enrichment, and professional development or self-development workshops. They are, in essence, the cornerstones of the services we provide. We've chose those because we believe in the community that we serve, or the communities that we want to serve. They are the services that are most in need. There is a growing need and has been a growing need for health and wellness workshop services, education enrichment services. There's a number of students who really can benefit from extracurricular activities in the areas of tutoring, extra access to STEM-based learning. And then there's a lot of persons who benefits and can benefit from some self-development workshops. So for us, it was a no-brainer to take these 3 areas and use them for our benefits. Now, each of us are skilled and trained in these areas, so that helps a lot. We establish our credibility based on the experiences we've gained, the knowledge we've gained. I think that answers your question.
All right. Well, let me go back. Tell me about some of the skills that you've been able to acquire over the years that make you apt and the person for the job to be able to provide these services.
Now, over the years, I've discovered that, like many, I wanted to figure out who I am and what do I have that is useful to the community. What are my, in essence, brand of skills? And what I did was, when I was in college, I studied psychology, communications, political science, international relations, United Nations studies.
And all that was just your bachelor's?
That was a mixture of bachelor's and master's. What that experience did for me is that it increased my knowledge and skills in human relationships. And in those human relationships, what I'm discovering is that a person's psychological preparedness helps them to function better in certain environments, like academia. You know, if there are impediments that you are experiencing, such as a mental health trauma or physical trauma, it can impede your ability to function well in the classroom. So when I realized those connections, it was easy for me to see what a solution would look like. You know, so those were some trainings. I've also had the pleasure of working in academia, managing academic programs, STEM-based programs. And so those experiences combined, I find, is what allows me to better comprehend the need of the folks in our community, and as well as to be of service, to be of aid to them. What are your contributions? What are your skill sets?
I've been providing athletic training services for just under a decade now. And in that time, I've been able to work with different populations, including youth as young as 5 years old, into high school, even at the professional level, working with students as well as athletes. And the purposes of ensuring that they are maintaining their health, their wellness, and safety on and off the field. My objectives have always been to mitigate injury as much as possible and help athletes who have been injured return to their full function of activity so that they can return to their tasks. But an athlete doesn't have to be someone kicking or throwing a ball, right? Anyone who moves and increases their activity level can be considered an athlete, right? There are many athletes, they come in different forms. And so, but a person who just goes through their daily routine, such as people who work in construction, those are athletes in their own right as well. And when they become injured, they too need to be treated and managed for their injury. So these are all of the different demographics, or rather, I'll say populations that I've worked with. And
so, wait, did you just rebrand the term athletes to include construction workers?
you try. Let me tell you something. I saw a video of a man lifting with one hand 2 cinder blocks. Now, if you can, if that man can do that, and the grip strength that it takes for that man to do that, that's athleticism, right? There's athleticism to that action. And so I don't look at a person and the line of work that they're in. I look at the tasks that they're executing, and I look at that as athleticism. And if you're performing an athletic maneuver or move, to me, you're an athlete.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I would not have said that of myself or of anyone. This is learning for me.
Listen,
here.
you have men rappelling off of windows to clean the outside of the window. The core strength required for that. Yes, there's some athleticism in it. Okay, you're not just sitting at a desk. So, but you mentioned something which I want to swing back around to, the combination of health and wellness, education, and self-professional development, and how they are interconnected. Can you talk more about how they are interconnected?
Okay, so health and wellness, as you know, comprises of a variety of areas, 8 dimensions in many schools of thought. And each of those requires us to be working constantly on managing and balancing each of those. So when a person says to him or herself that in this environment, we want to be prepared academically, and that's one of my wellness key, one of my wellness dimensions. So to achieve that, you must attend a school and complete that space of learning. And so you will realize that in that learning process, there may be times when you may need additional support. And here's where extracurricular activities comes in, or enrichment program comes in to give you that enriching support to complete your function. Now, let's say that same person had suffered some emotional challenge in their childhood. And every time they sit in a classroom preparing to take an examination, they experience all of the emotions that were once, that occurred in their childhood. Yeah. So it comes back every time they sit to take that exam. So that person can benefit from some workshops that helps them to undo and unpack and unlearn all of those challenges or trauma that they are experiencing, so that they can function properly in that academic environment, in that classroom environment. So the interconnectedness is that a human being is not just a human being who is sitting in that classroom. That person also has experiences that reside outside of that classroom, but can impede their effectiveness in the classroom. So we must be thoughtful about the complexities of what is either at play or affecting the play of that person's learning experience or just functioning experience,
Yeah, and I understand that since starting this company, I've understood that so much more now, those 8 dimensions of health, but also the interconnectedness of those 3 pillars. I better understand that a person cannot perform well academically or physically, right, on the field, on the football pitch or on the baseball field, if their mind is somewhere else. If they don't have a place to go home to, or they don't have a meal to go home to, or the lights are shut off, whatever, then how focused are they going to be in the classroom and on the field? They can't be. So now their performance is going to improve. Their performance is going to decrease, and they're now going to be chastised is not the right word, but they're going to be reprimanded with either a poor grade, or they're going to be told, you're failing this class, or they're going to be yelled at by their coach. And if that coach or that instructor or those advisors are not taking the opportunity to understand what is going on with communication, because solid communication is important here, then then certainly that person is not going to be able to get out of that circle that they're in and improve.
There is something about an outside influence attempting to remedy a matter that's going on within. And it's not always easy. We communicate differently, and for many persons who might have experienced a debilitating matter that is impeding their ability to function, that person also needs to communicate. So the communication happens on both fronts and both sides. And even though you may check in and say, hey, I'm noticing something is off, you want to talk about it? And if I shut down and say no, then I don't get the healing that I require or that I need. So I'm still going to remain stuck in this space, right? So,
and now it's by choice.
Sometimes not only by choices, but by circumstance. It's not always easy for the person to ask for the help that they need. You become in the state of, like, let's say, a victimhood, and you become comfortable with the emotions of grief and sadness and despair, that you don't see anything beyond that. You don't see hope beyond that. You don't see the opportunities beyond that. You are consumed or overwhelmed by the emotions that you are experiencing as a result of whatever might have happened, And it really does limit and impede your movements, as well as others, because others are depending on you to engage in you, to engage with you, and they want you to excel. So there I find it's constant vigilance. Constant vigilance to say, we will give you the space to maneuver, but we're also going to come back in and say, hey, we need you to wake up.
Well, perfect. That actually brings me to my next question: is what through our three pillars, how do we use? What is our method to help the community that we're serving?
Oh, entertaining. I'm not sure I'm ready to answer that question, but I'll do my best. The impact of our work is what is, I find, the answer to your question. Our method really is simple. We conduct an investigation into the community to find out what their needs are, and then we pair our services to their needs. So we have a tailor-made, custom-fit set of services that suits your needs. So you may say, I only need assistance in preparing for an SAT exam. But during our engagements, we realize that you can benefit also from a workshop in X, Y, or Z, whatever that workshop is. And so we'll offer that to you. And so the scope of work becomes a workshop on mental health, the SAT preparations, and then perhaps a fitness class, that allows you then to have the best of your time being spent, as well as the return on that investment. Because at the end of that experience, you will have burned some calories, relieve some stress that was clogging your brain, and then you achieve that test grade that you required.
Oh man, so we are the one-stop shop then.
We are a family-owned business, and it's a one-stop shop.
There's something in that is just coming to me, right? So you leave school, the student leaves school, and they come and see us. They receive a workshop that helps with their self-development. Then they get some SAT prep, which the workshop helped clear their mind and prepare them for the learning, right? Now the learning takes place. Now they have this, they're filled up mentally. Now they need to go in and transfer all of that knowledge into long-term memory so that they'll remember it. And what better way to do that than to go and exercise, right? To now help them relax a little bit more before they travel home and prepare for the next day.
Right. So in essence, our service story is varied because it benefits a person in a variety of ways. Listen, the starting point doesn't always need to be a fitness evaluation. It can also be a nutrition consultation. The starting point is different, but the continuation and the experience is manifold.
The conversation continues.
Right, and it goes back once again to the community. Our services are tailor-made for the community. So we're looking at what the needs of the community are, and so we then provide that service.
Right. You say that, and one of the services that we provide, that I think is very useful is the special services of athletic training services that we offer. Here in New York City, at least, not every school has an athletic trainer. So at 3:30, when the nurse leaves, who do those students go to receive care? And the reality is, if there's no athletic trainer there, no one. They would go to their coach, and if the matter is serious enough, then they would just need to go to the hospital. But athletic trainers who are qualified healthcare professionals, if they're present, they can simply manage those injuries right there and then make referrals as needed.
What is the function of the athletic trainer? Who is an athletic trainer?
Athletic trainers are healthcare professionals that are certified through the Board of Certification of Athletic Training, and they're also licensed healthcare professionals. So depending on the state, you have to apply for that license, and each state that you want to practice in requires their own license application, right? So I have a license for New York State. We have other athletic trainers that are licensed in New York State as well. And reaching out to the schools that we have to offer this service it's benefited the students, and it's benefited their families, and it's also benefited the school. The schools no longer have to resort to calling 911. The students receive quality healthcare in the form of acute management of injuries. And then lastly, their parents get to feel more at ease knowing that there's a knowledgeable healthcare professional on site to ensure that their child is safe until their child goes home. So
you're saying the athletic trainer serves an essential function within the school system by providing after school what?
The athletic trainer who works inside of the secondary school system or the high school system would arrive somewhere late in the morning and stay there until the evening time, until the last athlete leaves. And their role and responsibility is to manage any of the acute or chronic injuries that the student athletes might come in with. Whether it's a person rolled their ankle ice skating at Central Park, or whether it's they strain their hamstring during indoor track. Okay, it is our responsibility to manage all of those injuries and to help that athlete become educated on how to maintain their body, how to help heal their bodies, and also how to return to play safely. All right. One of the other important factors in healthcare is concussions, and having athletic trainers there allows the athlete to go to someone who's very knowledgeable in that injury specifically and help that athlete from step A to step Z return to not just the field, but as I like to say, they're a student athlete, so they're a student first, right? So it'll help them also get back into the classroom, because a lot of people don't realize that the person who experiences a concussion isn't only affected on the field, they're also affected in the classroom. And knowing how to manage that and knowing how to communicate with the entire educational team is an important tool to have that the schools are able to utilize from us.
I see. I'm going to give you the opportunity to, I think, clarify something that you said. Okay. You said one of the important aspects of healthcare is concussion. What do you mean by that?
One of the injuries that is so prevalent in sports that has gained a lot of popularity is concussion. Okay? And it has become something of a liability that people people are concerned with dealing with and sometimes even managing. Okay? So it's very easy to say, go to the doctor and let the doctor manage it.
And you're saying an athletic trainer can provide that service?
An athletic trainer is well equipped to provide the evaluation, an assessment, and the management of a concussion.
So through our company, how many cases of persons being, let's say, diagnosed with a concussion would you say on average we manage? I'll
use the academic school year. Most of the concussions will happen in the fall. So we would see we've managed to actually reduce our number of the number of concussions that we're evaluating, because we're able to help students by providing them with preventative exercise to help them prevent those types of injuries. Right now, let me clarify. We don't prevent. You can't prevent an injury from happening. That is being said, if an athlete is playing football and someone hits him right across the knee, it's hard to prevent that type of knee injury. However, what I will say is we'll mitigate the number of injuries and the severity of those injuries by helping students understand their bodies through education, anatomy and physiology, and also to help them with exercises that help just reduce that risk of injury. So with concussions, we've certainly been able to lower the number and increase also the identification of it, because students are becoming more willing to speak to the athletic trainer. They're becoming more comfortable with the athletic trainers, and also they're becoming more vocal. Right? They see that if they understand the importance of speaking about this injury, and they understand the importance of the return process.
You mean return to play?
Well, I say process because it's an entire process of education as well as healthcare, as well as play.
I see.
Some of these students that we work with are diligent in their classrooms. They want to perform well. They want to get a good education, and so they come concerned more so about the test that they have on Friday, more so than them playing the game on Saturday. Okay, so managing those specific injuries is something that we do. I like to think that our team does really quite well.
Fantastic. Well, I'll say, once again, it's really great to have these conversations. It allows us the opportunity to connect to our community, to tell our story, and with our services, the 3 pillars of services that we provide, that we are allowing ourselves to be a service provider to the community, I find in a way we are well positioned, well poised to have a positive impact or a lasting impact into the lives that we affect. So cheers to you, my good man, for being my business partner.
Again, as always, it's always a pleasure.
Cheers.
So you can understand that those 3 pillars are not just important for our company, but important for anyone's ability to live a healthy lifestyle. That's it for us for this casual conversation. We hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe so you'll get the notification for our next episode, and we look forward to seeing you soon. How's the energy?
A little low.
A little low? Got it. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, and here we go.